Welcome to the Wednesday meditation. We're at a time right now where there's just so much chaos going on. But that is so good because it's just wakening up us to start to see where we need to go and what we need to let go of. And you just look at nature right now. There's wildflowers out I have not seen in the mountains forever. There's birds that I've never seen before coming to my bird feeders. Plants. I took a walk into the mountains and I saw plants I've never seen there. And bees and butterflies. The earth is refurbishing itself. Could this be why this is happening? For us to not go back to the craziness, to simplify our lives. I know if you ever experienced what I have experienced, if I stop meditating, I'm part of the chaos. And all of a sudden you forget who you are, and you're just like a ping pong ball reacting to everything. Then you get a message, something comes to you and says, "Are you meditating?" And you go, "No." So then you go back and you get the food of life. And that's what we're going to do tonight, is feed ourselves. This is a call and response, and just let yourself just feel the words, what we're saying, and you can sing with me if you want, repeat after, whatever you want to do. Creator of all life, Creator of all life, Creator of all life, Creator of all life. What a blessed world we live in. What a blessed world we live in. Oh, what a blessed world we live in. What a blessed world we live in. Sacred water, sacred air, sacred water, sacred air, sacred none but you. When I look at life, there is none but you. Creator of all life, Creator of all life, Creator of all life, Creator of all life. I breathe in, I breathe out you. I breathe in, I breathe out you. I breathe in, I breathe out you. I breathe in, I breathe out you.
Good evening, everyone. Just want to remind all of you that we are still operating in full ministry here, and so we still rely upon the gifts and tithes that come from those who are experiencing and sharing with us the truth that we're putting out there, the one truth that can heal everything. And in the end, it is the one truth that will heal the world, not just of the particular challenges we're facing today, but the challenges of man's inhumanity to himself. So that's what we're about doing in Unity, and we certainly have had wonderful feedback and many experiences of healings and miracles. But where do they come from? They come from those that embrace the truth that is being shared in Unity. So let's get right down to the essential truth of our creation. I'm going to be reading this to you from the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verses 27 and 28. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it." That is the essential truth of our creation, of who humanity actually is. And it stands to reason that if we are made in the image of our Creator, then we must have also the creative power. So that is the truth that so many people have yet to understand. So many people have yet to embrace and to benefit from, that we have the creative power. In fact, we are creating all the time. Whether we acknowledge that or are conscious of that makes no difference. We are creating all the time. We are creating the outlook on life that we have. And that outlook, whether positive or pessimistic, or a switching back and forth of the two, is the truth of the experiences that come to correspond our awareness. So we are, in essence, creating the world as we experience it. But it's not the same experience that everybody else is having. Certainly not the experience of the masters of life, who have taken to task their own awareness and have found the way to be alive in the presence of the divine and experience the positive, holistic, wonderful joy of God consciousness. Of course, to get there is a journey. We are on a journey. It is a journey without distance, but it is a journey from a level of thinking that holds us in the illusion of separation, and ultimately we journey out of that through spiritual practice and experiences that prove the practice. We journey out of that into an awareness of the divine in every person, in every place, in every condition. And in doing that, every person in every place, in every condition, sees and feels the divine from us. This is how we become one in the consciousness of God. And it's a necessary idea that we do spiritual practice in order to assimilate this consciousness. It's not going to happen by accident. So it's not going to happen by having some extraordinary guru lay his hands on us, or anything that has to do with moving through the difficult ideas we have accepted as true and seeing through them and eventually releasing them through spiritual practice and finding the experiences that uplift us and allow us to feel good. And even while we're going through this practice, we can learn to feel good when conditions and circumstances in the world outside of us are not necessarily going the way we'd like them to go. We can still feel good because what we are doing is God practice. It is God practice. And what we are doing is clearly defined in this way. This is from the spiritual author James Allen, and this is what he wrote. Mind is the master power that molds and makes. Man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. That about says it all. It literally reveals to us another dimension of consciousness that we're not yet possibly ready to accept. Most people, for the most part these days still, and because of the media, because of the limitations that are foisted upon us from our early beginnings, peer pressure, parent pressure, school pressure, all giving to this foundation of separation. So many people are not want to even experiment with their own consciousness. But experiment we ultimately must if we're going to find true happiness. Because we have to find the key to living effectively. And the key to living effectively is to be mindful, so that what we are thinking is representative of our core nature, one with this Creator we refer to as God, whose nature is love. So we have it's a fairly simple philosophical concept that to love oneself is to love all others as myself. What was the great command given by the Master of Life? That you shall love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength. And he said the second is like it, the second command, to love your neighbor as yourself. This truth hasn't been missing from the understanding of humanity. It's always been revealed by the masters down through the ages. But when humanity has had enough of living in the limited negative experiences of separation, then humanity will be fully ready. Right now, a lot of people are getting aboard with this truth. And maybe it will grow experientially because of the challenges and the difficulties that we're meeting in our everyday lives today. It would be a limited thing for us if, we didn't have these challenges to see through and recognize their origin in negative thinking, negative living, bringing about negative experience, living in fear, and bringing about fearful experiences. So, as it is said, and not just by myself, but by all the masters down through the ages, it is incumbent upon us to take to task our own awareness so that we can become emissaries of the new age of enlightenment. Oh yes, we will talk about enlightenment and have groups that we discuss in enlightenment, but too many people still are not at that place where they know it is incumbent upon them to be mindful of the thoughts and the words that they allow to proceed through their consciousness, and the thoughts and the words that they allow to enter into their consciousness. So there's the key to life. And taking it seriously is the way we enter life truly worth living. I know that through all the years that I've been in ministry, it is absolutely certain that people who have a negative outlook on life, and I'm sure that you know these people, you've met them in many circles, and you've probably met a lot of joyful, wonderful people. But the fact of the matter is, if a person has a negative outlook on life, there will be negative experiences coming into that person's experience. And having the opportunity to counsel with people, I don't do general counseling these days, but back when I did do general counseling, you can see how one's outlook on life was being corroborated. Sometimes I will sit down with a person, and usually not when I'm operating in a counseling session, but sometimes you'll sit down with a person who's having a general chat, and when you get to this point of mindfulness and the necessity to be aware of the thoughts and words and actions that proceed from our being, people will say something to the effect, "Yes, Jack, but in the real world." But in the real world, what they're talking about is in the world that they're experiencing. It's not the world I'm experiencing. It's not the world Eckhart Tolle is experiencing. And it's not the world that the masters down through the ages are experiencing. So, in the real world, we are mindful. And it becomes such a wonderful thing to see the outpicturing of that mindfulness, to see the changes that it has in our relationships, and to see the changes it has in the people that we meet and have around us, so that it corroborates the truth of our oneness, the truth of the mind bringing forth into manifestation that which it absolutely embraces and believes. So there's proof right before us in every moment if we take to task the spiritual practice that is incumbent upon us to come into true life or God consciousness. That's what it's all about. It's not likely that anybody who's on this journey is not going to meet people in the beginning of the journey that are dead set against this truth of oneness and mind. They will be dead set against it because they have been in denial of it so long that it has made their life impossible, difficult, painful. And the one thing they're not ready to accept is that they might in some way be responsible for that. Some people are just going to say, no way. There's no way. I'm not making this happen to myself. But if you read A Course in Miracles, you read Eckhart Tolle's books, you read all the other teachers of the New Age truth, Emerson, you read the Edgar Cayce readings, you're going to come to the understanding that it is this basic truth that they are ever trying to get across to humanity. Let's look at it from A Course in Miracles. This is from the old text, page 106 in the Course in Miracles text. Miracles are merely the translation of denial into truth. If to love oneself is to heal oneself, those who are sick do not love themselves. Therefore, they are asking for the love that would heal them, but which they are denying to themselves. If they knew the truth about themselves, they could not be sick. The task of the miracle worker thus becomes to deny the denial of truth. The sick must heal themselves, for the truth is in them. Yet having obscured it, the light in another mind must shine into theirs, because that light is theirs, in another mind, in every mind. The light in them shines as brightly, regardless of the density of the fog that obscures it. If you give no power to the fog to obscure the light, it has none, for it has power only if the sons and daughters of God give power to it. So, I'm going to read this again because it is the foundation truth of the goal of human experience, which is personal transformation. So I'll read it again. See if we can just enter into these words that were channeled through the Christ, through Helen Schuckman, over a period of 7 years, for which she never received a penny. Miracles are merely the translation of denial into truth. If to love oneself is to heal oneself, those who are sick do not love themselves. Therefore, they are asking for the love that would heal them, but which they are denying to themselves. If they knew the truth about themselves, they could not be sick. The task of the miracle worker thus becomes to deny the denial of truth. The sick must heal themselves, for the truth is in them. Yet having obscured it, the light in another mind must shine into theirs, because that light is theirs. The light in them shines as brightly, regardless of the density of the fog that obscures it. If you give no power to the fog to obscure the light, it has none, for it has power only if the sons and daughters of God give power to it. To deny the denial of truth is to live in the denial of our interconnectedness with every person and every place and every condition. So, to deny that we're not connected, to deny that we're connected leads to this, ongoing experience of conflict in separation. So that we must ultimately learn that when we're beginning to feel resistance and inner conflict, and we feel or that negative emotions are rising within us, and we have to check in, and we have to ask the question, what am I thinking right now? That the divine would not have me think. Because the divine is one in all, connected to everything and everyone. So when we're having negative experiences within ourselves, we're having negative emotions, we have to check in and say, okay, what am I thinking? What am I contemplating? What am I reacting to? What am I resisting? This teaching is not saying to us that you're not going to have work to do, that you're not going to have challenges to meet. What it is saying to us is what frame of mind, what outlook on life will you be meeting that work with? Will it be a positive outlook on life knowing you are one with everything you look upon? Will the work that comes to you to be done in the spirit of that awareness? Or will you resist it in doing it? And so you see, it will ultimately prove itself out. If you have a negative outlook on life, you'll have everything you need to prove that you have a reason to have a negative outlook. And if you change your perspective and you seek to learn that when you're having negative emotions, negative feelings, you pause, you check in. What am I thinking right now that is not in keeping with divine awareness? What am I contemplating right now that I'm resisting? It may be that, some people maybe showed up in your life, maybe some relatives, or maybe some people that you knew back when and they need to stay with you, or for some reason you find yourself in a situation where you're with people that are not in line with considerate thoughts or words or things that they allow to come through them. But there they are in your experience. How will you handle that? You see, you only have a choice to handle it from a masterful awareness or a limited awareness. You can react in kind to whatever it is they're saying or doing that's negative and that you don't like and that you resist. Or you can begin to look past it and silently allow the divine awareness within to reveal to you what would bring peace right now within myself. Because what would bring peace within myself will also, in some ways, affect those that are not in peace. And with enough practice of that, you will see that people will change in their attitudes toward you in every situation because you're practicing the divine presence of oneness. You're becoming the miracle worker who is shining light into other minds. And therefore, you are being blessed as well, because you cannot escape the law that it is in giving that we are receiving. So whatever it is we're giving out, that's what we're receiving back. If we're giving out light and healing and love and acceptance and peace, we will be receiving that ultimately. It takes practice. And let me also say that A Course in Miracles uses the term sickness, and we, because of our conditioning, believe that sickness always has to do with being sick in the physical body. But the sickness A Course in Miracles is referring to is not necessarily sickness in the body. It is the sickness of separation. That's what it's referring to. So people that are sick are people that are living in the awareness of separation, the conflict, the fear, the resentment that comes with that state of consciousness. So tonight we're going to meditate again together, which is one of the spiritual practices that allows us to feel good. Just to be sitting still and allowing the presence divine to move within us. There is no punishment for our journey. We are given love over and over and over. So we should allow ourselves to feel beloved. And we do this as we listen to these Tibetan bowls that are calibrated to the 7 chakras of the physical body and the mind. And if you have not a spiritual practice that you do for meditation, you might want to take this. If you don't have your own, when we get to that period of silence, you might want to just use this truth. Everything I look upon, everything I see, is only God looking back on me. In this refined level of divine awareness, let us offer the names of those that have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name from the list, you can just affirm healing with one word in your mind. Yes. So when she calls the name, just bring that positive truth. Yes. Yes.
Mark and Susan Walker, Louis and Krista, Cecilia, Stephan, and family, the universe, Brandy Gamblin, Roxy Stovall, Melinda Niemczyk, Jay Patch, Eric P., Wayne Bartlett, Bonnie, Steve, Mary, Marlene, Martin, Kara, Mary Doyle, Marie Grace, Mariah, WJG, JG, Jeannie Russell, Tim, Sandy, Lori, Tate, Dan, Jack, Michael, Diane, Craig, Ruth Pearson, Sherry Leachman, Robin Neeson, Marlene Neeson, Sebastian, Kulong van Kuzen, Serenity and family, Gail Wagner, Steve Taylor, Mira Morrison, Daniel Rivard, Tom Rapp, Grace, Dan James, Michael M., the United States government, the air, water, earth, all life on this planet. And if you would like to call out a name at this time, you can do so.
Del Matthew Groverland, Big Tree, and family.
Beverly,
Shad Daniel Groverland,
Sandy,
and family. Satisha Groverland, family.
you see this healing light surrounding the prayer box and all the people's names that have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us take a moment to allow this peace that we feel in this refined awareness to move into the consciousness of everyone sharing the Boulder community with us. We visualize that happening. And we visualize it happening in the consciousness of everyone sharing the state of Colorado with us. And we visualize that happening in the consciousness of everyone sharing these United States with us. And we visualize that happening in the consciousness of every human being on planet Earth. And with this vision and prayer, we visualize all the creatures on planet Earth coming into harmony and peace with mankind. A refined divine understanding prevailing in the relationships of all creatures. And that becoming true for all of the waterways of the world, the rivers, the lakes, the oceans. And this harmony and healing, this divine awareness prevailing with all the vegetation, all the living things on planet Earth, the trees, the mountains, the minerals, everything becoming an expression to be used in a harmonious, beautiful way as we fashion the new heaven and the new earth. So we pray. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And God is love. Love, 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 love. To this we say, Amen.
Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heart beat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heart beat. Hey-ya, 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 hey-yo. Hey-ya, 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 hey-yo. Father, I see you where echoes fly. Spirit's gonna take me higher. Father, I see you where eagles fly. Spirit's gonna take me higher. Hey-ya, 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 hey-yo. Hey-ya, 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 hey-yo.
We will take an offering for unity now, and it will be done differently because of the restrictions. But we will bless the offering in our hands, and those of you at home can bless it in your mind, and you can send it in by virtue of going online and sending it through your credit card. So we're going to bless the offering now. We can take the offering in our hands or in our minds. And we have a basket. The exit, because of the restrictions, is through those doors. As you go out, it'll be the doors on your right. And so now let's bless, and there'll be a basket there on the table for your offerings. We take our offering in our hands and bless it with this offering statement. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. Amen. So I want to thank all of you for joining us. I really want to inspire as many of you that are watching this on the screen that you should come down and join us here. I think the energy is a lot better if you're here in proximity to everyone meditating. But if you're feeling the joy and love at home.
And on Sunday, we're doing the meditation service on Sunday morning.
Sunday, I was so caught up by the Spirit on Sunday, that I left out 90% of the talk. But yet the talk was so well received.
Maybe they've been too long.
Huh? It wasn't too long, is that what you're saying?
I said maybe they've been too long.
So, I'm supposed to take that open.
Just joking. They're never too
I
long,
know.
Jack. They're just never too long.
I know, it's fine.
We can't get enough.
How dare you? So I'm inviting all of you that are watching this on the screen to join us Sunday again at 9 a.m. I'll be taking that talk up and giving the entire talk on specific healing. And I began that talk with a film that I watched. And the name of that film, for those of you that wanted to know it and are calling in, is Breakthrough. So if you look that film up, it has a very strong fundamental Christian base to it, but it has a lot of, really good, beautiful truth.
That's a true story.
And it's a true story. So if you want to look that up, it's a very beautiful, positive film. And the name of it is Breakthrough. So to all of you, thank you for joining us in this prayer. Let's look forward to filling Unity of Boulder one day, again, soon, and being through this pandemic and through this limited experiences.
And Santisha will be speaking at the second service.
Oh, that's right, Cynthia, of course. She will be speaking at the 11 o'clock service on Sunday. And show up. She's delightful, and not only that, but she's doing the process of spiritual healing while raising a family, which is an amazing thing. She has lots of insights to share with all of you. To everyone again, good night and God bless.